Hey guys, how are you? Daniel Marcos here, presenting from Mexico City. I'm based in Austin, Texas, but I'm visiting family today. So how are you? And today we're going to talk about how can you 10x yourself, your team, and your company. We really believe that no one teaches you to be a CEO. We started doing a project because we like it, and then we begin getting really, really good, hiring people, and then you realize you're a CEO of a company. And that's a big realization. No one really says, I want to build a company because I want to be a CEO. You want to solve a problem in the market. You see an opportunity, you want to be able to take care of our opportunity or that market, and then you start doing something, and that's when you build a company, and one day you realize now you have this infrastructure, you have payroll and everything that goes around it to run a company, and then you realize you're not prepared. And it's a lot of stuff. So we're going to talk about how can you build a model, a system for you to 10x yourself, so you could 10x a team, and then you could 10x a company to the next level. So let's talk about that. Right, about myself, I've been an entrepreneur for 21 years. All these are all the companies I've been associated with. I've had some really, really great successes and some really great failures. I don't know any real entrepreneur that has never had a big failure. Indeed, for me, was this company called Unica Mortgage that was a disaster in the internet, sorry, in the subprime industry. I had a mortgage bank, a subprime mortgage bank, 3 years into growing it, and then we got the subprime debacle in 2008, and I was completely destroyed. I had to start again when I was 35, but that's what I learned the most. I really realized that in my first business, I was very, very disciplined, doing things by the book and everything. And then I drank my own Kool-Aid. I thought that it was easy, that it was simple. And I just kind of started cutting corners, doing things simpler. And then the mortgage crisis came and I was completely gone. And after that, I became a CEO coach. I've been coaching a lot of the best entrepreneurs around the world for the last 13 years. And today I have a company called Growth Institute, where we're helping a lot of you be able to scale your company and reduce the drama on the operation. And I really believe there's two types of CEOs for this. You could see this man here in the blue shirt trying to lead a team, but the team is distracted, they're not getting it, no one's aligned. And then you find someone like him. Oh my God, he's such a good CEO. Satya Nadella, he's the CEO of Microsoft since 2014. And by the way, I have an iPhone, the computer I'm teaching this from a Mac, my iPad, like I'm full Mac. I strongly admire the CEO of Microsoft. And let me show you a little bit of numbers. This is the stock valuation of Microsoft. Since it started, of course, it was zero. And then the stock got to around $50 a share when when Bill Gates left the company as a CEO and gave the helm of the company to Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer takes it around $50, and then when Ballmer stops being the CEO, the company is worth around $36. So imagine being a CEO of a company like Microsoft, leader in the world, and whenever you leave, the company is worth around 30% less than when you came in 14 years before. And by the way, Steve Ballmer is still worth 71 billion when I took this picture. So you could still make a lot of money for yourself, but not necessarily for your company, the impact that you do, and for your investors. And then Satya Nadella gets a company 2014, and you could see the growth, 5 times growth in valuation of the company. By the way, valuation is not everything, but I think it's a very, very simple way to measure the amount of value you give to the world. And I really believe Satya Nadella is an amazing, amazing CEO. And Microsoft is going to be a big, big competitor to Apple, to Amazon, to Google. They're really doing things very, very well. And by the way, this is for me the biggest thing. Microsoft has, I think, 160,000 employees around the world. They change one employee, and that's the difference on the stock. So that's how important the leader of the company is for the company. So now let's talk, how can you do that? Right? And of course, the choice is yours. And you're not alone. Most entrepreneurs tell me, Daniel, I feel alone. 2 o'clock in the morning, I cannot sleep. I don't know how I'm going to pay payroll the next day. I'm having all these issues with my client. And I feel I'm alone. I feel I'm the only one that is responsible to get things done. You're not alone. Most entrepreneurs, we feel the same. We're in this roller coaster of entrepreneurship going up and down, and we feel it. So really, really important that you understand you're not alone, and go get together with other CEOs. Just have a lot of talk time with other CEOs and learn what's working and get unstuck where you are stuck to get your company to the next level. So as I said at the beginning, no one really teaches you how to be a CEO. And I believe you need to have a CEO system. So I go to companies and I ask them, hey, show me your systems. And they show me their accounting system, production system, customer support system. And then I say, great, show me your CEO system. They say, what do you mean? Yeah, how are you as a CEO? How do you run the company? How do you take decisions? How do you prioritize? How do you lead the company? And they look at me like I'm like from outer space. And I was like, no, if we have systems and procedures that are proven for everything in our business, why not for the CEO? We feel we're too intelligent, we don't need to do that. No, the best CEOs are very, very disciplined, following the best systems and procedures. So I believe you need to have a CEO system to do 3 things. Be able to prioritize, be able to measure what you do, and be able to communicate to the team direction and what you expect from them. So this is a picture of the amount of companies in the US at the end of 2019. This is before the pandemic. There were 28 million companies in the US registered in the IRS. 96% of them do less than $1 million of revenue a year. That's it. And by the way, I'm originally from Mexico. I live in Austin, Texas today. I live in Canada, Hong Kong, and the rest. But when I was in Mexico, I used to see the US, and I was like, wow, the biggest market in the world with the biggest companies. And when you look inside, the US is built by a lot of very small companies. So the US and every other economy in the world, around 90–95% of the companies are small companies. So we don't have a startup problem. We have a scale-up problem. So let's see how you could be one of the 4%, or better, one of the 0.4 that does over 10 million, or 0.06, or 17,000 companies that do over 50 million a year in revenue. Of course, my home country, Mexico, I just want to do a comparison. And we had 5.2 million companies in Mexico before COVID, and 96% of them do less than 10 million pesos, or around $500,000. So here's the first thing that I learned from this. Depending on your market, you have an average revenue per employee. A small and mid-sized service company in the US should be doing around $120,000 revenue per employee. In Mexico, the average is around $40,000 revenue per employee. India is around $18,000 revenue per employee. So depending on what part of the world you're at, is going to be the amount of revenue per employee average. As an example, I have a highly tech team. We do education worldwide online. And of course, we leverage technology a lot. We're doing around $300,000 revenue per employee. So it's really, really important that you understand revenue per employee, because that determines profitability depending on your market. And the second thing that I learned with all of this is, if you want to go from one stage to the other, you have to go through the valleys of death. And what brought you here won't get you there. So the systems, procedures, strategy, mindset to get you to do $1 million in revenue are not the ones that are going to take you to do $10 million in revenue. You have to completely change your mindset, tools, grow your market, team members, technology, everything to go to the next level. So let's learn what you have to do today in the stage that you are today to go to the next level. And by the way, every technology, every methodology that I've seen that talks about scaling, they start with one thing, and they all have the same: long-term thinking, long-term planning, long-term vision. This is, for me, one of the best books I've seen about that, the 25-year framework from Dan Sullivan. And this is why human beings overestimate what we could achieve in the short term and underestimate what we could do in the long term. So if you put a short-term goal, most likely you're going to fail. You're not going to get to your goal. You're going to get depressed, and then you're going to start lowering your projections. If you put really long-term goals, most likely you're going to significantly overcome them. Why? Because of compound interest or compounding something, exponential growth. As human beings, we just see things linearly. We cannot see things exponentially. Whenever you put a long-term goal, you use the curve of exponentiality, and you could go growing much, much faster. So if you want to achieve something really, really big long-term, put a long-term big goal and be focused on it 10, 25 years, focus every day in the same thing. All right, so let's now talk how companies grow on stages. So you identify where are you today, and you know exactly what you have to do to go to the next level. And I believe there's 4 stages in every scaling company. That is the scale up or startup, startup, grow up, scale up, that I think is stage 3. And then stage 4, that's when you start dominating your industry. And in each one, I'm going to talk about their focus, their priority, their barrier that is not allowing you to go to the next level, the ability you have to, let's say, get better to be able to go overcome that stage. And then what's the right decision you have to take to go to the next level. Stage 1, 1 to 5 employees, more or less. What's the focus? Product development, product market fit. What do I sell? What price? To whom? What marketing? Like, really need to understand the right thing that you're selling. What's your space in the market? What are you doing? How are you giving value to the world? The priority, validate that business model. Hey, I have this business model that I have an idea. I start a company. I need to validate that business model. The barrier you need to overcome, market dynamics. Whenever you do a business plan, you don't know how your competitors compete. When they do discounts and things like that, those are things that you don't know. The only way you're going to know them is once you start building your company and you start going through the stage. You're really going to understand how the market works. And those are the market dynamics. Ability you have to develop to go above stage 1, marketing. Marketing is the most important strategy or ability you have to develop yourself to be able to tell your client what you want to sell them, and your client to tell you what they want to buy and how much are they willing to pay. So for me, marketing on stage 1, it's a communication, two-way communication channel for me to talk to the market and refine my product, define my product or service so I could go to the next level. And the decision is all about strategy. You have to rewrite your strategy. You have to rewrite your one-page strategic plan or your business plan to go beyond stage 1. All right, stage 2, grow up. More or less 6 to 15 employees. The focus is 100% on sales. Okay, why? Now you have fixed expenses, you have salaries, rent, all these things. Now you have to get cash to pay it. Stage 2 is the stage where the founders or the founder ages the most. Here's where we get really, really old because we're having a lot of cash flow problems. We're having these ups and downs. Our expenses are fixed, where our income is like this. So that creates a lot of stress in the company. The most important thing is that you take control of your selling system so you could have more fixed revenue with your fixed expenses and still make money. Priority, hire the right team. In stage 1, you don't choose your employees. They choose you. Whoever is willing to work for you, you said, oh, thank you very much. You have a pulse? Yes, come and work for me. You don't really care as long as people are willing to bet on you and work with you. So on stage 2, you have to really see your business. Now you understand what's the right job description, positions, and everything, and be able to hire the right person for the right position. So you have to be much more strategical with your team on stage 2. Then what barrier does allow you to go to the next one? Leadership. Why leadership? Because now you have to lead. In stage 1, you're doing everything. You're putting your hands there in everything. Now you have to lead a team. And for you to lead a team, the first thing you have to do is build systems and procedures that will allow you to delegate to them, and they could do whatever you do, but without you being there in a predictable way and repeatable way. So build systems and procedures that anyone could run to serve your clients or run your company without you being there. And the decision, it's all about team, get the right team, don't run out of cash. With all of these things, remember the cash is ups and down, just make sure you don't go under. Most companies go under on stage 2 because they don't have a good cash flow projection and backup. So really, really important. Stage 2, figure out your cash, get the right team, and try to build it as predictable as possible with systems and procedures. Stage number 3, now you have a scalable company. Now is the right time to scale. Stage 1 and stage 2 is kind of the preparation stages to try to scale. This is the right stage when you start scaling. So more or less 16 to 250 employees. The focus is now you start defining your industry, the technology you bring, the innovation, everything. Now they start looking at you. Now they say like, wow, this company is getting it. Before you're too small to matter. Now they said, wow, they're really understanding their business. Now they're going to be a competitor. Now they start competing directly and trying to take them under. So it's really, really important that you start bringing innovation and defining your industry. Priority, scale. This is the right time to scale your company significantly. Barrier is infrastructure. If there's one thing that will not allow you to scale physically, it's infrastructure. You have to invest in systems, procedures, new offices, and your expenses go through the roof. So you need to have a lot of money to do scaling, the scaling phase. And that's when you get venture capital, private equity, and all kinds of investors on stage 3. We believe raising money on stage 1 and stage 2 is a premature way of raising money. And most of the companies, instead of taking a year or 6 months or whatever they believe are going to take, it takes 3 to 5 years. And then they go under. They have a lot of problems with investors and the company shuts down. We believe the right stage to get venture capital and private equity. Now you know how to make money. Now you have a lot of people working in a lot of directions. Focus them, get them on the right direction, align their effort. Great strategy. They got the right strategy on stage 1, stage 2. On stage 3, they're focused, disciplined. They execute the plan. You have to make sure you're executing your plan. And then stage 4, now you dominate your industry, more than 250 employees. Now you start talking about market share. Hey, I have 3%, 4% of market share, whatever. Priority, reinvent yourself continuously. Why? That's when you get into the comfort zone, the barrier. You start buying a summer travel in the summer for 2 months. Like you start getting all these very nice things in life because now you have a lot of money. You have all these clients and systems and procedures and employees, and you're enjoying life, but you get into a comfort zone. And that's when things go really, really wrong. So our job is to continually get out of the comfort zone, be the change catalyst of the business, and create a business that adapts fast, let's say, to the future and whatever is changing. And the decisions are the 4 decisions of scaling up: strategy, execution, cash, and people. So just make sure you're rotating your focus in these 4 decisions and be the leader your company needs, and continually reinvent yourself and your company to continue growing as the market changes or the world changes or the trends change. All right. So every stage needs specific capabilities. And by the way, we are the first thing that companies eat or demand: good leadership. So it's very, very important that you understand how you have to evolve from an entrepreneur to a CEO. So these are the 4 stages. Now we're going to talk about you, the leader of the company. How do you have to evolve from entrepreneur to CEO to take your company to the next level? So stage 1, the startup, right? You have to be able to dominate 3 mindsets and do 3 types of jobs: technical work, managerial work, and entrepreneurial work. As an example, my company, we do online education, online courses. The first courses, I recorded the courses, I edited the videos, I upload the LMS, like I was doing everything, right? That's all the technical work. I was teaching the courses, everything. Managerial work, I had to open the bank account, the company, get the funding, hire people, pay them salaries, all the managerial stuff to make sure the company runs. And 3, I have to be the entrepreneur, right? I have to get the direction, share the idea, go and sell, make rain happen. So on stage 1, the entrepreneur or founder or founders, they're doing these 3 works, 3 type of job positions or descriptions. Just make sure you're doing the 3 of them. We see a lot of company, they're great technical people, and they think just because they do a great product, it's going to sell. No, you have to have all the admin and be an entrepreneur to go and sell it. So make sure that you do the three things, or there's someone in charge of doing each of the things in your company. Stage two, now you're a leader. By the way, if you see here, the entrepreneur is everything, right? It's the whole company. On stage two, now the entrepreneur is a leader, and now is leading, but leads one-on-one to a team. That's why this stage ends at 15 people, is the maximum amount of people that you could lead efficiently one-on-one. And what you have to do whenever you want to lead someone, you have to do two things. Say, hey, we're going to go in that direction, or that direction, or that direction. You tell them where we're going, and then you delegate to them. Say, hey, we're going to go there, and I expect you to do this, and by this date, or this matter, or this amount of things. But you have to be able to delegate correctly to them after you tell them the direction. Now, stage three, and this is a complicated leadership stage. As you see, the leader now is a leader of leaders. So now the first thing that breaks down is communication. That's why communication is so important. You start playing phone. This leader tells something to this leader and says, hey, tell your team members, whatever. And this leader distortions the message. Why? Because they hear it bad, or they think it's different, or they want to say it in a different way, and your message doesn't go through everyone in the company exactly the same. So you have to be much better communicator. Remember phone, the game that you tell someone a secret, and then they pass the secret, and the secret gets completely destroyed by the fifth or sixth person? That happens in companies all the time. So you have to be an amazing communicator and make sure the communication goes exactly the same in every level. Build the team. Now you start building the team. We believe you cannot build a great company. You have to first build a great team, and that team will build a great company. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next 10 minutes. And then design action plans. You're going to have to help them design a plan that is aligned to the company strategy in their department or their area. And then you have to learn how to coach them. So here, I recommend you take off your hat of being their boss, and now you put a cap of being their coach. And your job is to coach them for them to grow. Imagine I have an amazing head of sales. How many sales problems do I have to take care of? None. If I have a weak head of sales, how many sales problems do I have to deal with? A lot. Why? Because if that person is amazing and they have everything they need to do, they're going to do a great job. If they're weak, everything's going to pass through them to me. So my job in stage three is hire an amazing team, first line of defense, and then focus on growing them, focus on coaching them for them to be great. If they are great, they will build great departments. If they build great departments, they will build a great company. So my job is really to focus in my first line of defense, the people that report to me, and help them be amazing. Hire them, and then help them grow and lead them and coach them correctly. And then stage four, you become a satellite around the organization. The organization runs the day-to-day without you. And you're there to be strategic innovator, change catalyst, and chief of culture. The culture that you design in stage 1, 2, and 3, you just have to make sure everyone's living it, and whoever doesn't follow the culture gets removed from the company. And of course, strategic innovation, you're the one that brings innovation, and then help the company change consistently and adapt consistently to the market. So if you look at sports, athletes spend around 90% of their time training and learning techniques and practicing so they could execute 10% at their best. So my question to you is, how do you do it? How much of the time are you training, and how much of the time are you executing? We believe that in business is the other way around. We operate 99% of the time, and we expect with 1% of learning, we're going to be able to prepare great and learn great. No. By the way, this is something I learned the other day. The people we pay the most in the world, sports, arts, things like that, those people make the most money in the world. The more you practice, the more the world pays you. The more you practice, the more the world pays you. So practice. People say, well, if I'm practicing, I'm not making money. No, the more you practice, the more money you're going to make when you're executing. The best CEOs practice, learn a lot, learn how to use all these techniques learned by someone to be able to scale their company, and most importantly, eliminate the chaos. We know what is to scale a company. I've scaled companies to 1,200 employees. I know how much drama that creates. So it's really, really important that you understand that scaling a company, the faster that you scale it without the right systems and procedures, will create a lot of stress, chaos, and drama. All right, so this is the model that you need to follow to be able to scale a company. First, you have to focus on you. It's like a plane. Whenever you go on a plane and the oxygen mask come out, what they tell you? Put the oxygen mask first. If I am financially depleted, I have a lot of stress, I have overweight, I have problems with my family, my kids, my wife, I'm going to be a lousy leader. So I have to focus on me, of being a great leader, being in great shape, eat good food, like being good matter. So I will get people that want to follow me and want to be led by me. And I've talked with a lot of executives around the world, and they said, how can I admire my boss? Like, he cheats on his wife, and they have all these financial problems, and he's overweight. Like, I don't want to be led by someone like that. I want to be led by someone that I admire. So you have to be a leader that a great group of executives or leaders want to follow you. So first, focus on you. Then focus on building a great team. As I said before, you could not build a great company. You have to focus on building a great team. And that great team is going to build a great company for you. And then you focus on building a great company. So let me give you some tools for this in the next 15 minutes. All right. So first, on you, you have to do 4 things to work on you. First, operate at higher mindset. Continuously learn, practice, talk to other CEOs, figure out what's the next level in your mindset as leader, your mindset with tools to lead people, to think about the world. Like, you have to really take your brain to the next level consistently. And that's just through learning, practicing, things like that. So operate at a higher mindset consistently. Second, find and scale your tribe. And for me, tribe is not just your employees. It's mentors, investors, advisors, other entrepreneurs to bounce ideas and be able to talk to. Like, it's a full tribe that helps a CEO scale a company. Third, honor your freedom. If you are 24/7 focused on the company, that will never happen. You have to focus on you. You have to have your own personal life. You have to go to the gym every day, eat well, like have good finances or finance on your life, your personal life. Get your freedom right. If you are completely depleted and you depend on the company and you put 20 hours a day, you're going to fail as a person. And if you fail as a person, you're going to fail as a leader, and the company is going to fail. So make sure you honor your freedoms. As an example, just as soon as I finish this, I'm leaving the day. My mom was operated yesterday. I said, I'm going to work until 2 p.m. Central Time. I'm out. I'm going to my father spent the morning in the hospital with my mom, and I'm going to go and replace him. So this is really, really important. You have to have your freedoms. I have no phone calls, no nothing. No one's going to email me. My team's going to run my company. I'm going to be focused in something that is important for me. So honor your freedom. And fourth, build your legacy. We're here in this world to build something, to leave a legacy, to have an impact in the world. How are you going to have an impact, leave a dent in the world? And it's really important that you do it by design, not by default. And by the way, these are some of the books we recommend that you read and methodologies that you take to take yourself and focus on yourself to go to the next level. Focus on your team. You have to do 4 things again. Build and lead your team. You have to build a team of amazing leaders and then lead them, help them go in the same direction. I could have the best defense and the best goalie and the best whatever, but if they don't play well as a team, I don't lead them as a team, they will not be able to give value. My job is to bring the best to my company and then help them, lead them and align them for them to give results. Second, build a memorable culture. The team members, the best team members, the best executives, the best leaders in the world, they want to enjoy the world, their life, their business, whatever, whenever they work for you. You have to have a great culture for them to want to work for you. If you have a toxic culture, they're going to leave. They could be attracted. Some months later, they're going to say, this is not for me, I'm out. So if you want to keep a long-term team, build a memorable culture that people want to be part of that team, that winning team. Third, boost their capabilities. When they come, they're great. You want to keep them great. You have to take them to the next level. So it's our job as leaders to help them boost their capabilities, how to grow them, how to take them to the next level. If they stop growing, they're going to leave. Our job is to keep them growing and being better so they could take our company to the next level. And fourth, align their efforts. Now you have a team, you have the best sales agent, sales manager, head of finance, production person, whatever. Now align their efforts for them to help you grow and scale your company. And of course, these are some of the books that we recommend around focusing on your team. Third, focus on your company. Now you start talking about the company. Everything else is to prepare to build a great company. In your company, you have to do four things. Build a powerful and simple strategy. Really, really strong strategy, but very simple that everyone could understand and run. Define a predictable sales system or build a predictable sales system. Remember, your expenses are fixed and your sales do up and down. No, you have to make sure that if you have fixed expenses, you could also build a better or higher fixed revenue. So if you have a good sales system, you're going to be able to predict your sales. Third, challenge exponential growth. Remember, change catalyst? You're the one bringing all the innovation. You have to challenge your team to grow aggressively, to grow exponentially. And four, boost your company value. Whenever you build a company, you're really building something that has an intrinsic value. So you have to be very, very strategic how you grow the valuation of your company, even if you don't want to sell, because one day you're going to want to sell. So even if you don't want to sell today, it's your job to boost the company value. So whenever it happens, you just sell your company and it's going to have the right valuation. And by the way, most of the companies sell because of an emergency of one of the founders of the company, the CEO, mostly. You get sick, your priorities in life change, you have to change direction on your life or something, you have to move, and you said, you know what, I need to sell my company. And you usually have 3-6 months to sell your company. If you want to be able to sell your company and capture all the work you did, capture all the value that you put in, you have to boost their company value consistently so you could take your company to the next level. And these are some of the books that we recommend for the team. All right. Sorry, for the company. These are the books that we recommend for the company. All right. So my question to you, are you being the CEO your company deserves? Do you have the tools, the language, the knowledge, the mindset to take your company to the next level? Do you have the right team that you need to take your company to the next level? Is the right team that your company needs today? Are you being the CEO your company deserves? All right. So I'm going to give you 3 practices in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll go for some Q&A. All right. So these are the 3 things that I recommend you do today to start getting your company to the next level by building a CEO system. First, morning routine. The best leaders in the world, they wake up 2 hours before anyone else and focus on gaining energy. So if you wake up with your alarm, you get out of your bed really, really fast, go into the shower, shout to your kids, shout to your wife, try to eat very, very fast, get into the car, go in the traffic. By the time you get into your office, your stress is high and you're already very depleted of energy and you could not give a lot of value. I usually wake up at 5 a.m. every day. My family wakes up at 7 and I spend 2 hours for me getting energy. And I start with a quiet environment, get a really, really good cup of coffee, meditate a little bit, learn a little bit. I try to read every day for half hour, do some exercise, be able to be in a good state of mind and well-being every day. By the time my family wakes up at 7 a.m., I am already with a very, very high level of energy. I already spent 2 hours for me. I feel great. Now I could start giving value to my family, to my team, to my clients, and the people around me. I usually spend 2 hours just for me, nothing else. Do this, your life is going to change dramatically. Two, I have what I call 3 time frames that I learned from this executive here, Dan Sullivan, in this book, How the Best Get Better. It's an amazing book. And one of the things that teaches is that today we have an entrepreneurial time system, and it's very, very different from the executive time system or an employee time system. You need to break your days in 3 types of days. What he called preparation days. They're buffer days that you're preparing to give a lot of value. As an example, when I was doing this PowerPoint, it was a preparation day. I was focused all the day, just building presentations, reading, writing my book. That's what I'm preparing. So whenever I'm in front of you, giving you value focus day, I'm just giving a lot of value to you, and I'm very, very focused. I'm not worried about, hey, the PowerPoint, or if I have money to pay payroll. I don't care about that. In my preparation days, I take care of that. Now I'm focused to give you value. That's a productivity. And then 3 days to rejuvenate. You have to be able to rest. You have to be able to take some time off and be able to get your mind on the right state, relax your mind so you could come and focus again. By the way, for me, I spend at least 3 days a week out of the office. I go to the office 2 days a week. Those are my execution days. The other 3 days, I don't go to my office. I usually work in my home office, and that's where I prepare. If I'm in my office and I'm trying to build a PowerPoint or write a book or preparing, I have my team members every 5 minutes. Hey, boss, can you sign this check? Hey, boss, can I ask you a question? Hey, boss, no, it's a disaster. Whenever I need to prepare, I get out of my office and I'm really in a quiet space where I could really think and prepare to execute. And this is the one thing that I changed in my leadership from stage 2 to stage 3. I stopped playing checkers and I start playing chess. So if you look at the checkers board, you see your pieces and they're all the same. Blue, yellow, white, green, red, and they're all the same capabilities. Who has 100% control of the board? You. And you move them around and you play, moving your chips around. Whenever you're playing chess, it's completely different. You look at your board and say like, wow, I have different executives. Each one has strengths and weaknesses. They're all different. How can I position them for them to be able to give more value to the world and use their strengths? And how can I cover the weaknesses with someone else? If I'm able to do that, I'm going to do great. But instead of moving them and me having to take full control, micromanaging them, no. I figure out what they're good at. I figure out what's the best position for them, give them directions that I trust you, go and execute. If you need help, let me know. I'm going to have some KPIs to see their development. And as long as the KPIs are green on the right direction, I just let them operate. And that's when you gain freedom. Most entrepreneurs that work 15 hours a day and don't have time is because they're playing checkers. You have to learn how to play chess. You have to be way more strategical with your time and how you lead your team. All right. So are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? Tough question. Are you being the CEO your company deserves? Do you have the right tools, mindset, team, strategy to take your company to the next level? That's the question. All right. If you want to download the slides, here you could download the slides, danielmarcos.co, that's my personal page, impact-x-workbook. All right, you could download the slides there anytime, and you could go through this again.